back in Indianapolis as we get set for kickoff. Let's send it down to Jamie Erdahl, who's with Houston head coach Bill O'Brien.
Coach, J.J. Watt said more than any other regular season game, this feels like the playoffs. What was the nature of your meeting with the team last night heading into this one?
Well, I think it's important to just come out here and play a tough, smart football game. And I think, anytime you get this late in the season and you're playing for something, that's really special. And this is what our opportunity is today.
Thanks, Coach.
You got it.
All right, Jamie, thank you. As for the Indy side of things are kind of simple for the Colts. With a win today, they'll win the AFC South if they win one more of their last two games. Jamie talked with Chuck Pagano a few moments ago.
Coach, with the massive implications this game has on your division, what was the last thing you said to your group before they hit the field?
It's about us. Unity over self. United, nothing can stop us. No worries, no fear, no doubt. Just go play football. The team that wants this the baddest or worst is going to be the team that wins this football game.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck Pagano, and thank you, Jamie. And the Indianapolis Colts have won the toss. They will defer. Well, there's nothing like two teams meeting who just want a game really badly, Trent.
Well, talking to both coaches, they didn't want to bring up the fact that they're both 6 and 7. They said, let's not talk about what's happened before. We got to focus on what's going to happen on the playing field today. And that's been the message from both head coaches, is trying to get their guys dialed in and focused, which isn't going to be real hard when you think of the implications of today's game.
That's number 33, Akeem Hunt, getting set to kick. To get the opening kickoff, he will not return this out of the end zone. And so Houston will start from their own 20-yard line. Missing their starting quarterback, Brian Hoyer, out with a concussion. TJ Yates, 3-3, as the Houston Texans starter over the years, gets the call. They have confidence in him.
They do have confidence, and rightfully so, because what he's done in the past and what he's done already this season. What he's done so far this year is take care of the football. 3 touchdown passes and no interceptions in his limited amount of playing time, but they feel very confident about what he can do.
In his 5th season out of North Carolina. And here we go from the 20-yard line. This is Chris Polk. And Polk stacked up at the line of scrimmage for no gain. On the Houston offensive line, 3-time Pro Bowler Dwayne Brown in his 8th year is the veteran of the group at left tackle. And what a weapon number 10 is. DeAndre Hopkins, more than 1,200 yards receiving, 10 touchdown catches on the year. And as you saw there, Chris Polk got the start at running back, 2nd and 9. Yates down the sideline this way for Hopkins, incomplete. And a penalty flag is thrown right off the bat on Vontae Davis, it would appear.
He doesn't turn around. Vontae Davis doesn't get turned around until too late.
Ed Hockley,
Pass
our referee.
interference, defense, number 21. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
Houston, 1st and 10 at their own 43-yard line. It's just a go route down the left sideline for DeAndre Hopkins. You see he goes up for the ball, but that collision, that physical play right before the ball gets there is what draws the penalty.
That's a 22-yard pickup on the penalty and a first down. And this is Polk once again. Just across the 45-yard line where Eric Walden makes the stop. The Colts defense, which has been beaten up the last few weeks. Number 94, Zach Kerr, starts at defensive end today. All-time leader in sacks for Indy. Number 98, Robert Mathis, 115 of them in his 13th year from Alabama A&M. And in the secondary, safety Mike Adams, his 5 interceptions, tied for 3rd most in the National Football League. On 2nd and 7, Yates under center. Polk. Not much off the right side, stacked up at the 46-yard line. Leading the way, DeQuell Jackson and Jarrell Freeman, the 2 inside linebackers. Bill O'Brien, vehement in his conversation with us last night about having to run the football today.
Well, and that's what they want to do. They don't want to put all the pressure on the shoulders of TJ Yates. Yes, they feel comfortable and confident in what he can do, but he said we have to take some of that pressure off by being able to run the football effectively. So far, they haven't been able to do that.
Jonathan Grimes into the backfield for Houston on 3rd and 6. And we get a timeout called by Indy. So Indianapolis using a timeout here. And it looked to be a little bit confused coming off the sideline prior to that play.
Yeah, there was some confusion whether it was from a personnel matchup standpoint, what the Texans were trying to do. They went to 3 wide receivers. I don't know if they felt comfortable with the matchups they had on the field. Whatever it was, they knew how important this first third down could be for the Colts.
These Texans have lost 5 straight to Indianapolis, 0 for 13 here in the city of Indianapolis.
You know, that's crazy when you think about how many good football teams the Texans have had over the year. Even Andre Johnson, who's with the Colts now, mentioned the fact that he knows the Texans, it's always a struggle coming up here to play.
3rd and 6. Yates over the middle has his man reaching for the first down is Nate Washington. The spot will be critical at about the 47.5-yard line.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if this is short if they don't go for it.
It is short. And it appears they will go for it.
Well, and after meeting with Bill O'Brien and just his approach and his attitude going into the game, you can see as Nate Washington's trying to get to the first down but ends up short. Texans appear like they're going to go for it here on 4th down.
Houston just 4 out of 16 on 3rd downs this season. That is last in the NFL. Hunt has it and more. 30 and out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. Mike Adams pushed him out.
As you said, Greg, Akeem Hunt coming out of the shotgun, getting Brown out in space, pulling around to the outside. Good seal on the outside. Cecil Shorts with a block up the field.
They needed a half a yard. They got 21. New set of downs for Yates. This is Hunt. And he's stacked up at about, they'll give him forward progress to the 26-yard line. And once again, those 2 inside linebackers, DeQuell Jackson and Jarrell Freeman.
Well, on the 1st and 2nd down runs, they haven't had a lot of success. You think about it, it's only 1 and 2 yard gains over the times they've tried rushing. The biggest gain was on the 4th down where they're able to seal it and get it to the outside. So still not having that effectiveness running inside the tackles.
This drive got a big boost from a pass interference call on Vontae Davis. Straight drop for Yates. This sideline and intercepted at the 10-yard line. Picked off by Davis himself. Vontae Davis came right back and gave the Colts the ball. Third interception of the year for Vontae Davis, and it cuts short an early threat by the Houston Texans. So TJ Yates throws his first interception of the season, and it cuts short a Texans foray into Indianapolis territory. And now here's Matt Hasselbeck in the offense at the Indianapolis 15. Hasselbeck over the middle, complete across the 20 to the 25 is Andre Johnson, the former Houston Texan. And let's go back to the pick, Trent.
Vontae Davis, DeAndre Hopkins is working the left sideline, but I want you to watch Vontae Davis. He has his eyes back to the quarterback the entire time. He just got called on a pass interference that gave the Texans a first down. This time he keeps his eyes on the quarterback. Here's Yates staring it down the entire time. When you sign late into the season, Yates didn't sign until just before Halloween. There's not going to be those timing routes that he tried having there with DeAndre Hopkins.
On first down here is Gore, and Gore up the middle. And Gore continuing to push and is brought to a stop at about the 30-yard line. Brian Cushing and Benardrick McKinney combining for the stop. There's Matt Hasselbeck in his 17th NFL season, starting at a quarterback, and the key is just try to keep him from getting hit as much as possible.
Yeah, he's dealing with rib injuries. He described it as separated ribs. He doesn't have a broken rib, but the cartilage in between the ribs is where the pain is coming from. It's not something that he can injure more. It's just how much pain tolerance does he have and how far through this game can he get.
2nd and 5, switch pass to this side of the field, and T.Y. Hilton with the catch and out of bounds. And that's enough for a first down. Up front, the Colts get Anthony Costanzo back at left tackle. He's missed the last 3 games with a sprained MCL. And number 81, Andre Johnson, 12 years a Houston Texan, going against his former team for the 2nd time this season.
Well, Greg, back to Matt Hasselbeck when he was meeting with us, he said, the only thing I have to do is just make sure I don't get knocked down. As long as I don't get knocked down, I'll be all right.
Hey, it's only football.
That's right.
Red 80!
This is Gore. And he'll be marked at about the 37-yard line. Houston's 3-4 defense led by J.J. Watt playing with the broken left hand. Number 2 in the NFL with 13.5 sacks. Among the linebackers, Jadeveon Clowney making his presence felt more every week. The number 1 overall pick in the draft back in 2014. And second-year safety Andre Howell out of Vanderbilt, the Texans' interception leader with 3.
Sit down! Hey, gun!
Hasselbeck out of the shotgun on 2nd and 9, throwing it this way, the near side, and that is caught by T.Y. Hilton. The catch is made at the 47-yard line, and that's enough for another Colt first down.
Incredible timing route and throw here by Hasselbeck, getting to T.Y. Hilton. See if he gets both feet down, 1-2.
Good footwork indeed. Hilton has now gone over the 1,000-yard receiving mark for the 3rd consecutive season.
Line 5-5! Red 80! Ready?
Play fake this time. Hasselbeck over the middle, almost intercepted, and Hasselbeck hit the deck. Andre Howell had a chance to pick it off, intended for T.Y. Hilton.
Texans, this is the first time they've been able to get pressure on Hasselbeck all day. He has to throw the ball early. You can see from that replay that T.Y. Hilton hadn't even gotten his head turned around yet. So Matt just trying to anticipate where he was going to be. Jared Crick with the hit. Hasselbeck actually jumped up pretty good after that. We were concerned how he was going to handle getting hit that first time.
I got him, Hugh. Move on!
On 2nd and 10, this is Gore trying to turn the corner and not going to be able to do it with any great success. McKinney runs him out of bounds. There's Andrew Luck, injured back in week 8, lacerated kidney. And all the talk about him actually getting out and doing a little bit of throwing, but the thought that maybe he would be back in the regular season is really optimistic, Trent.
Well, he's standing right there next to Clyde Christensen, the quarterback coach. You can see he's the one calling the plays in to Matt Hasselbeck. Had a chance to talk with him before the game, and he said Andrew is still not to the point where he's doing team activities. This week was the first time he'd gone out and had some throws.
Hasselbeck over the middle, wide open inside the 45 to the 42 is Kobe Fleener, the tight end. That is another Colt first down.
Fleener over here, he's just going to go up and cross into the middle, catching that void in the middle of the field.
Houston's 3rd down defense, the best in the NFL, but the Colts have rung up 3 on them so far today on 3rd down. And we get a whistle and a timeout on the field. 7:18 to play in the first quarter. No score.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency. Low fares, nothing to hide. Zales. Declare your love with gifts from Zales, the Diamond Store. And by Fitbit. Find your fit.
We're scoreless as you're getting a look at the Festival of Trees at the Indiana Historical Society here in downtown Indianapolis. Hey, there's still time to find great gifts for your favorite sports fans. CBS Sports Shop today. Get the latest team and player apparel and gear at cbssports.com/gift. Hasselbeck and Andre Johnson apparently was thinking something else, but he was open.
Yeah, if you look at what Hasselbeck was throwing, he was just throwing that stop route, and Johnson looked like he was going to do a stop and go. He just tried giving a little stutter and taking off. So definitely not on the same page that time.
2nd and 10. We asked that Houston defense what they wanted to do as far as Hasselbeck goes. They said, we know he likes to get rid of the ball soon, and that's probably accelerated once you're dealing with Clowney on one side and Watt on the other. Frank Gore carries to the 40. Let's go down to Jamie.
Well, Greg, J.J. Watt added to that when you know Matt Hasselbeck is going to get rid of the ball quickly, the Texans defense is going to try to get this Colts team into 3rd and long, so he really has to drop back and find someone to connect with on the long ball. But Matt Hasselbeck did say that he feels like he's played well with worse injuries, so he's pretty optimistic sitting back there under the center for the Colts.
Yeah, Jamie, Chuck Pagano even told us the other day, 3rd and long is a disaster against these guys. And that's what Hasselbeck is facing. Has time, throws incomplete. Over T.Y. Hilton and under Philip Dorsett.
Well, and sometimes when you don't get the reps in practice, the timing is not there completely. Hasselbeck spending more time in the training room. You see double team on the block, a chip by Doyle before he goes out on the route. So they're making sure that J.J. Watt doesn't get revved up going upfield.
So Pat McAfee will try to back the Texans up to their own goal line. Cecil Shorts the 3rd inside his own 10. McAfee lofts this one up high. Fair catch is called for and made right at the 10-yard line. So with 6:23 to play, Houston back on offense in a scoreless first quarter. We were talking about Andre Johnson of the Colts. He Skyped into an event he's hosted for the last 7 years in Houston. 12 children from Harris County's Department of Family Protective Services were given a shopping spree. Johnson's foundation aims to support children from single-parent family homes. And Andre grew up in a single-parent family himself. Has also been an active godfather to Cyril Jones Jr., whose dad was Johnson's best friend growing up. Tragically lost his life at the age of 20. Good for Andre. On first down, Alfred Blue in blue across the 15 and out to about the 18-yard line before being cut down by Darius Butler.
Well, this will be a big drive for T.J. Yates because when you look at what happened last drive, they were able to put some things together, got a big 4th down conversion, got down into the red zone for the Colts, but then had the interception. So how does he respond from that? How does he come back from that? As a quarterback, you have to be able to clear that out of your head and get right back to work.
That's what they tell all quarterbacks. You got to forget about it. Is that easier said than done?
Easier said than done. Coach Vermeil always had a saying, one snap and clear. Get on to that next play.
On 2nd and 3, this is Blue and Blue crawling across the 20 out to about the 22, and that would appear to be enough for a Houston first down.
Trying to get Blue active in this game, get the run game going a little bit. Had the one big run by Hunt earlier on the 4th down, but just trying to get some consistency in the run game so they can get to the play action pass, which is something T.J. Yates is good at.
Alfred Blue, the lone back behind Yates. And Yates to throw. Under pressure, gonna take off. Down across the 25 to about the 28, maybe the 28.5-yard line. While we have a moment, Christmas Eve only on NFL Network, the Chargers square off with the Oakland Raiders, and then a special Saturday edition of Thursday Night Football as Washington takes on the Philadelphia Eagles. The NFC East very much up for grabs. 2 division showdowns this week only on NFL Network.
Tough loss for the Cowboys last night, eliminating them from playoff contention or that NFC East crown.
You have to really work at being eliminated from the NFC East, Greg, don't you?
That's something they got done. They've had a bunch of different quarterbacks starting for Dallas this year.
3rd and 2 now for Houston.
Crowd trying to get into it for the Colts. Texans have shown to go with jumbo personnel, adding an extra offensive lineman. Doesn't appear they've done it this time. They want to get 3 wide receivers in the game.
Yates, that's complete. And across the 35 to the 36 is Nate Washington for a first down. And DeQuell Jackson making the stop.
That's a second big 3rd down now. They've gone to Nate Washington. Colts may need to start focusing some attention on 3rd down, getting to Washington.
Said at the very top, these two teams will not play a bigger game this season to date.
Well, that's what the emphasis of both coaches were. You know, you're in position to control your own destiny by getting the win here today.
On first down, Alfred Blue. And Blue bulls his way across the 40. Loose football. Mike Adams covered it. And the Colts get the turnover.
Well, and I think that ball came out, Greg. I know they're ruling it as a fumble. I think even if we take a look at the replay, we'll see the ball comes out before his legs do. He continues to drive. You got to give him credit for trying to fight for yards. Looks like Adam is the one that stripped the ball and also recovered the ball. Trying to see.
That's going to be a really, really close call. They will look at this one as they do all turnovers. Mike Adams fighting for the football. We'll get Mike Carey's view after this. Welcome back. Ed Hockley is ready to tell us what's what.
The ruling in the field stands as called. Indianapolis ball, first down.
Let's go to New York and get the thoughts of the well-traveled Mike Carey.
Yeah, Greg, on this one, I would confirm the fumble on this, and here's why. As soon as the strips start, the ball moves, it's loose, and because it never stops, it's loose the whole way. His knee is up. That's a confirmable fumble, and obviously a clear recovery.
All right, sir, thank you very much. So here's Hasselbeck. Hasselbeck killing time until he gets the screen off to Frank Gore. Gore inside the 30 to about the 26-yard line. And that'll be a first down. Brought down by Brian Cushing.
Good timing on the play call by the Colts, setting up the screen, trying to get the pressure up the field. They catch Cushing in a blitz coming up the middle. Able to pick up the big yardage on the screen.
Cushing coming back from that blitz to make the tackle. Pursuit downfield.
Ready!
Gore just inside the 25 to the 24. Let's get our first NFL Today update of the day from JB and Tony G.
Cam Newton is for real. Yes, he is, JB. Right here, he's going to take this quarterback keeper race all the way through the Giant defense for 47 yards. Would get tackled out of bounds right here, but would come back a couple plays later, hit Ted Ginn Jr. for a 3-yard touchdown. Panthers up early, 7-0.
Back to Greg Gumbel.
I wonder who didn't think that Cam Newton was for real by now. Thank you, guys. Hasselbeck. Short pop is good inside the 20 to Dan Herron out of the backfield. And forward progress looks like it's just short of a first down.
Well, an offensive coordinator Rob Chizinski for the Colts is doing a great job of play calling, getting them in position, getting the ball out of Matt Hasselbeck's hands quickly, anticipating the pressure, getting the screen called at the right time. He's balancing things up very well here as the Colts face a 3rd and short.
Hold the count. Take out. 5-6, single.
Four in the backfield, deep on 3rd and 1. To give it to the first back through. And that was Dwayne Allen. And Allen, let's see if he got enough for the first down at the 17.
Looks like the initial spot will be enough.
It is a first down.
Going with a quick fullback dive, try and get the attention like they're going to run the sweep to the outside, sneak it in there, and see big old Vince Wilfork in the middle there. It's that's some tough yardage to get when you try going through the middle like that.
Nicest guy in the world. You do not want him coming at you in anger.
Quick there, you. Ready!
Keep it on the ground with Gore, and there's nothing there. And Wilfork combining with J.J. Watt for the stop. There's Romeo Crennel. 33 years of coaching experience in the National Football League.
Well, the Texans have had a dramatic turnaround defensively. What they've been able to do, starting off the season 2-5, giving up 28 points a game. But in the last 6 games, they're 4-2 in those games and giving up only 15 points a game. So quite a big turnaround there at the midway point of the season.
Well, Matt Hasselbeck tried to pull the Texans offside, did he?
Neutral zone infraction defense. Number 99 came into the neutral zone, causing the false start.
And he got
5-yard
J.J.
penalty.
Watt to
It's
jump
second down.
with 3 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. And they'll roll the clock, and that will be the end of one. Scoreless here in the first quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Applebee's. Taste the change. And by FedEx. How the holidays arrive.
Back at Lucas Oil Stadium for the start of the second quarter, and the Colts trying to take advantage of a turnover. Take a look at some first quarter numbers. The Colts are at the Houston 11. On 2nd and 4, Hasselbeck looking, on the move, and throws it away. It'll be 3rd and 4. Will Fork along with Whitney Merciless. Now, Matt Hasselbeck is a grown man.
Yes.
But he is nursing some sore ribs, and I'm sure he doesn't want number 75.
That would be the last person
Coming
you
down.
want jumping on top of you and expanding your ribs to see how they hold up. So Wilfork was able to push the inside part of the pocket. As a quarterback, you want to step up the inside, but when that inside collapses, there's nowhere to go. You got to try flushing to the side, and Hasselbeck's not in any condition to take off and run.
On 3rd and 4, Hasselbeck over the middle, touchdown! Dante Moncrief.
He does possess that quick release, though. Getting Moncrief on a quick slant to his left, finding that crease in between the underneath coverage. Moncrief here just could come up and get into that open space. Look at that, quick one-step drop. Put it on Moncrief quickly, so Cushing can't come in and make the hit and knock it out. Watt talked to us last night about how fast Hasselbeck gets the ball out of his hands. He has no chance of getting a sack.
Touchdown catch number 6 on the season for Moncrief. Vinatieri for the extra point. And Vinatieri in his 304th NFL game puts the 7th point on the board. Blue fumbles, Adams recovers, and then Hasselbeck to Moncrief. It's 7-0 Indy. Number 29 is Mike Adams, who recovered the fumble. Remember, we talked to him 2 days ago, and he said, "Yeah, I've had my back against the wall my whole life." So playing a game like this is nothing different for him. The touchback means the 20-yard line start. Touchdown pass. The Colts and Matt Hasselbeck on top by 7. Welcome back to Indy. The Texans down 7 on the scoreboard. Start from their own 20-yard line. T.J. Yates in shotgun. And the slant is complete to DeAndre Hopkins, and Hopkins out to about the 30-yard line. Mike Adams, you talk about a guy Mike Adams, who has a really good time playing against this Houston Texans team.
You go back to early in the season when they faced the Texans the first time, getting the deflection of the Ryan Mallett pass, and then later in the game as Hoyer is getting hit, throws it up in the air like a punt. Adams there to recover, gets 2 interceptions, and then earlier today with the strip and the recovery of the fumble. Mike Adams, a pain in the neck for the Texans.
A lot of time for Yates, throwing down the far sideline, incomplete. Intended for Nate Washington and covered well by Darius Butler. With that much time, you would usually think good things for the offense, but not that time.
Well, and George Godsey, the offensive coordinator for the Texans, has really had a nice game plan. They wanted to come in here and run the football. They already have 52 yards rushing. Those first 2 series, though, they've turned the ball over, and that's been the problem, is not getting the ball and securing the football.
On 2nd and 10, it's Chris Polk with the handoff, and look at that hit by Jarrell Freeman, the 4th-year linebacker out of Mary Hardin Baylor. So it's 3rd and 9.
Oh, the Colt fans trying to get into it here on 3rd and long, trying to make it difficult. That's another thing you have to concern yourself with if you're the Texans is TJ Yates. How many reps does he have dealing with the crowd noise, dealing with the silent count, and getting the communication in place to call out the protections?
Yates with time, running out of time and goes down. Trent Cole, number 58. His 3rd sack of the season.
Yates is trying to get downfield. He's going to have some time with the protection, but when you see the routes that are coming upfield, there is no one that's open. Take a look at the coverage, how much time he has in the pocket. He has good initial coverage, but there's just nowhere to go with the football.
Quan Bray, number 11. Back at his own 20. Running room on this side, gets a block, gets another couple of blocks. Still on his feet, across midfield, and into Houston territory. Trent Cole, boy, always nice when the quarterback comes right back to you, isn't it? 7-0, Colts.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. State Farm. Find your agent at statefarm.com. And by Macy's.
Nice scenery of downtown Indianapolis near the Capitol building on a very, very nice day in December.
That took a lot for you to say, Greg.
Oh,
because
no,
it is a little chilly for you. You're glad we've got this roof closed.
I would have had a little bit of a fit if the roof had been open today. First down. At the Houston 47. Hasselbeck throwing this way, and it's incomplete. T.Y. Hilton, the intended receiver. Tuesday on CBS, a pill makes him a crime-solving genius, and the FBI has made him their greatest asset. Don't miss the new hit drama Limitless, Tuesday at 10, 9 Central, only CBS. Romeo Cornell calling out instructions. You made the point. This Indy team has had good starting position all day so far.
Well, that last possession with the turnover at midfield, they took advantage of it, got it into the end zone.
Hasselbeck on the move, and he's going to run out of bounds. And going after him was Jadeveon Clowney.
That's not a dirty play. I know the fans are reacting. That was not a dirty play by Jadeveon. When he made first contact, it wasn't out of bounds. Obviously, if you're Hasselbeck, you don't want it to happen, but especially dealing with the rib injury, and you think about what happened to him against Jacksonville, similar type play over near the sideline.
Can we classify that as not illegal but unnecessary?
Oh, it was unnecessary because you know he was going out of bounds, but it wasn't illegal. And I know that everybody in the stands knows that Hasselbeck's dealing with an injury, and they know what happened to him a week ago.
And everybody on that Texans bench too. On 3rd and 9, this is Zerlin Tipton. Let's go back last week against Jacksonville. Matt Hasselbeck missing a few plays after taking a hit. After coming back, his day ended early. Right there, Telvin Smith's hit aggravated the rib injury. And for the second straight game, Hasselbeck could not complete the game.
You saw him on the bench there shaking his head. He came off the field. He wasn't moving that left arm. He kept that left arm close to his chest as he jogged off the field, went right to the sideline. And as I said earlier, it's just something he's going to have to deal with. It's more of a pain tolerance than anything.
Fair catch called and made at the 6-yard line. 11:21 to play in the first half. It's the Colts by 7. Just a reminder for you, Week 5 with Week 15 continues later today on CBS, and for some of you on Fox, then tonight with Sunday Night Football on NBC. Tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN. So here are the Texans starting from their own 6. And Blue shaking the tackler. gets first down yardage. Out to about the 17-yard line.
That was a pretty unusual run there, Greg. He came to a complete stop in the backfield and was waiting to see where he was going to go, where his blockers were going to set up, but then showing the acceleration to get outside and to pick up the first down. But I didn't know if it was going anywhere when he initially made that stop.
This is blue, and penalty marker flies. Here's Ed Hockley.
Holding, offense number 18. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat, first down.
The penalty is on Cecil Shorts. And we get another NFL Today update. JB and Tony.
Washington playing like it controls its own destiny.
Yeah, right here, Kirk Cousins. He's going to drop back, hit Jordan Reed for his second touchdown of the day. Washington all over Buffalo early, 21-0. Looks like you and I, huh, Trent?
Back in the day.
That's good.
You guys are likely to do that all day long. You know, it doesn't matter who's throwing and who's catching. First and 18 for TJ Yates. Looks left, throws left. Hits DeAndre Hopkins, but right there on him was Vontae Davis.
This is a timing route. Yates almost takes too long getting the ball outside. You see Vontae Davis driving on it, able to get there and not allowing Hopkins to make any move after the catch.
Trent, you get the impression that this Colt defense is very, very embarrassed by the number of points that's been put up on them the last 2 weeks.
Oh, you would have to be embarrassed by that, and the fact that they talked about DeAndre Hopkins and the numbers that he was able to put up on him in the last matchup, so they wanted to take that away from him today.
Yates goes down inside the 10-yard line. That's Kendall Langford.
Langford on the inside. Going to get pressure up the field. He just continues working as Yates slides back to the pocket. You see Langford splitting the double team. Once again, Yates not having the time to push the ball up the field. From that down and distance, trying to stretch it.
3rd and 19.
You need to be careful, though, down here near your own end zone.
This is Grimes, and Grimes for just a couple. And Jonathan Newsom leading the charge to make the tackle.
Well, and that's why you make a call like that, Greg, is because you're worried about where you are on the field. You're down in your own end zone. You've got a quarterback that, yes, he has some experience, but you don't want to put that type of pressure on him. Get the draw, see if you can't get some yardage. They weren't allowed to get any. Once again, the Colts are going to have good field position after this punt.
Last time Quan Bray had a chance to return one, he returned it 33 yards. Bray coming this way. Look at the block that he got. Midfield 45 and out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. Someone threw an unbelievable block in the middle of the field.
Well, I tell you what, Greg, first off, I can't believe he didn't call a fair catch because he knew there was two guys that were going to be right there. And then he decides to run over 50 yards the other way. We see the block coming up right here.
That looks like, let's see, I don't know who that was.
He's able to get the wall. He has the wall set up on the other sideline, and he runs a good 50 yards sideways to get to that sideline and gets it up the field. Excellent field position for the Colts starting this drive.
3rd straight drive for the Colts starting in Houston territory. Hasselbeck. Play fake. Sideline complete. Inside the 20-yard line. Catch is made by Andre Johnson. 18-yard pickup and another Colt first down.
Well, excellent job in protection by the Colts, giving Hasselbeck time on that play fake to get the ball up the field. As you said, Greg, Andre Johnson with the catch, and former Texan, excited about bringing that one in.
Let it roll, let it roll, let it roll. Blue flag! Blue flag!
Gore into the middle of that pile up and right into Vince Wilfork. Andre Johnson now up to 14,011 career yards, passes James Lofton for number 9.
Well, we had a great conversation with him on Friday, and just his appreciation and what he feels about the Houston community and the amount of time that he spent with the Texans. But he said it was time for a change, and good for both the organization and for him to get a fresh start.
He's such an understated guy. On 2nd and 9, Hasselbeck, short pass, and that's complete inside the 15-yard line to Griff Whalen, the 4th-year receiver out of Stanford.
Hasselbeck working through his progression. See out to his left, he has a corner route and a flat route. I don't think that was Clowney taking him to the ground. I think that was more Hasselbeck after he threw it, trying to protect himself from taking an unnecessary hit.
You know, I mentioned Andre Johnson being understated. You asked him any advantage against these cornerbacks. He said, well, I've practiced against them a lot. 3rd and 5. Hasselbeck throwing, end zone, it is incomplete. Intended for Kobe Fleener, he couldn't hold on. Eddie Pleasant, number 35, was there to help break it up.
Well, I'd like to see Fleener here jump up and attack the ball and try and bring it in with his body. He knows he's going to have Pleasant making contact here. Could you have made a throw a little bit further into the corner and lead him and run through it? But when you know it's going to be contested, get up there with your body and take it away from the defender. Don't allow him to knock it out.
So here is Adam Vinatieri. Missed his first 2 field goal attempts this season. He's made 20 in a row since. That is career field goal number 499 in a great kicking career. 10-0 Indy.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, half the cost. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL.
There is our guy extraordinaire, Jay-Z. Merry Christmas to you, Jay-Z. Nice threads. The Verizon Halftime Report coming up. JB and the guys back in New York with scores and highlights all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. 6:12 to play in the first half. Colts with a 10-point lead in a game both teams need badly.
When you think about what the Texans have not been able to do, they're still in this game. I mean, it's a 10-point game, but it seems like it's much more lopsided than that when you think about the turnovers that the Texans have had, the penalties they've had, the field position they've had, and yet they're still close. They need to go down and get some points getting into the second half.
Hunt will not run this one out of the end zone. The touchback means that the Texans will start their own 20-yard line. Saturday, Miami and Washington State take center stage in the 82nd Sun Bowl. The Hurricanes close with wins in 4 of its last 5 games. They'll take on a Washington State team coming off its best season in the Mike Leach era. That's live Saturday at 2 Eastern right here on CBS Sports. You aren't all excited about the bowl season or anything, are you, Mr. Green?
It is. It's a fun time of year. College basketball is going. The playoffs are getting close in the NFL. The bowl season, it's a good time for sports.
On first down, this is Blue, and Blue breaking through right up the middle. Midfield. And finally down at the 40-yard line of the Colts, brought down by Darius Butler and Mike Adams. That is a 41-yard pickup.
Watch this hole open up and just going right through the middle and then cutting to the outside. Great block up front. Several great blocks up front.
Now that's literally how it's drawn up.
That's in an ideal world when you're an offensive coordinator. You're like, yeah, that's exactly how it's supposed to look.
This is Jay Prosch, second-year running back. It'll be second down.
Well, the Texans have now gone over 100 yards rushing in this game. You see Yates tripping, gets stepped on by the guard as he's trying to peel away.
That's a little bit of a quarterback nightmare.
That is, when you can't bring your feet with you, you're just trying to make a clean handoff at that point.
2nd and 8. This is Blue once again, and he's not going anywhere this time. David Perry, the rookie out of Stanford.
Seeing the penetration here, getting into the backfield.
3rd and 9. And once again, here come the Indy crowd. Yates, incomplete. Jaleel Brown covering Nate Washington on the quick pop inside.
Well, and I think here you have to punt the football. You can't go for the long field goal. Nice play there defensively by the Colts. Brown knocking it away. They are going to try a field goal.
So this is going to line it up from 57 yards away for Nick Novak.
Well, the only reason I hesitate on this, Greg, is because if you miss this, look at the field position you're going to give the Colts once again.
Novak missed it wide right. You can understand Bill O'Brien trying to get something on the board for his team, but you wonder what he's giving up in the effort.
Well, and that's where you have to weigh it. When you're down 10-0 and the field position has been swayed the way it has been, punt them, try and get them down inside their own 10, try and get that field position to swing the other way. Then in turn, you get the ball back. If you get the stop, you get the ball back around midfield before halftime starts. You see the average starting field position here for Houston down at their own 16, Indianapolis, right around midfield, where once again they're taking over the ball.
They are taking over right now at their own 47-yard line.
5-6. He's my boy. Double A. Ready, right.
Doyle in motion to give us to Gore. Gore turning the corner into Houston territory and inside the 45-yard line, close to the 40.
And that's another Indianapolis Colts.
Clock continues to move. We come up on 4 minutes to play in the first half. A reminder tonight on CBS, the new season of Undercover Boss kicks off with a jaw-dropping episode. Don't miss the season premiere tonight after 60 minutes, only CBS. Moore once again. Let's get out of Jamie.
Well, Greg, I've been keeping an eye on Matt Hasselbeck. He's taken a few of those hits. He's hit the ground like he said he didn't want to on the sideline. He's getting some treatment on his left shoulder when the Colts defense is out there. He did tell us moving that left arm is painful for him. He's also making sure to take some of those deep breaths at the very top. He still cringes, though, so certainly things to keep an eye on him.
Thank you, Jamie. Hasselbeck on 2nd and 6, and that's incomplete. Number 83, Dwayne Allen coming across. So the book on Matt Hasselbeck so far, only knocked down twice.
Well, and he talked about, as we've mentioned several times, J.J. Watt talks about Matt Hasselbeck and how quickly he gets the ball out of his hands. It's interesting, these last few plays, I've been keeping an eye on what the Texans are trying to do defensively. They need to get some penetration. The Colts talk about running at J.J. Watt. Well, with Clowney, Romeo Crennel is moving Clowney around all on the defensive line, just trying to create some problems for the Colts offensive line in their protection scheme.
Hasselbeck going down at his own 47-yard line. And J.J. Watt and John Simon were in on him.
Well, and you see him slow getting up. Every time he takes a hit, it's extremely painful dealing with those separated ribs. You're going to see Clowney coming around to the inside, but it's the pressure from Watt on the outside getting the combo sack.
We were asking J.J. about how that broken left hand affects him. He says every once in a while it it gets in harm's way. That was his way of putting it.
Well, he talked about taking a direct hit on it. Still is very painful because the bone is just now starting to heal. He did mention the x-rays and how often he changed the cast around.
But then he said it's only pain. McAfee barely got that one away, and the fair catch is made by Cecil Shorts at about the 6-yard line. 2:15 to play. First half. Boy, we've talked about him twice with New England. A Super Bowl victory rested on the foot of Adam Vinatieri. Super Bowl 36 against St. Louis. The game-winning 48-yard field goal as time expired, giving the Patriots a 3-point win. 2 years later against Carolina, the clutch Vinatieri connecting on a 41-yarder with 4 seconds to play. New England winning another Super Bowl by 3. And a reminder, Super Bowl 50 coming your way here on CBS February the 7th. Once again, that field position you were talking about, Trent.
Yeah, it makes it difficult. You know, right now the Houston only has 28 yards passing, and it's difficult when you're throwing out of your own end zone the whole time.
Yates going down at the 4. We have a penalty marker down. Kendall Langford getting the sack.
Well, it's coming in from the side, Judge, so it's almost the area of a neutral zone infraction.
Offside, defense, number 58 in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, it's first down.
That penalty is on Trent Cole.
Cole trying to get a timing lined up on the outside. Gets a quick jump. And gets caught.
Reset the game clock to 2:11. 2:11 on the game clock.
So that's the correct time remaining here in the first half. And a 1st and 5 for TJ Yates. Yates on the quick slant to Hopkins. Hopkins across the 30 and down. Tackled by Dwight Lowery, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning at 1:58 on the clock. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Texans would like to get Nick Novak to at least a 50-yard field goal. He was no good from 57, short and wide. First down at their own 31. Yates over the middle. The dive is in Cecil Shorts, couldn't come up with it. Houston's 2-minute offense coming up with only 16 points in the last 2 minutes of the half. That's the fewest in the league.
Well, they've had a lot of changes at quarterback, had a lot of inconsistency in that area, so it's hard to get in any kind of rhythm. You still can utilize the entire field with the amount of time left. You still have the 2 timeouts, so the entire playbook is at your control. If you take a look at George Godsey there, calling in plays, having another quarterback rotate through his system.
Here comes the blitz. The pass is complete and across midfield and into Indianapolis territory is Ryan Griffin, the 3rd-year tight end out of UConn. Clock continues to move. Houston and Indy both with 2 timeouts remaining.
There's some confusion here, trying to get everybody lined up.
And they're going to call a timeout and get straightened out rather than run a bad play. Yates to Griffin. Novak continues to warm on the sideline. Yates and the Houston offense at the Colt 47. And that pass over the middle is incomplete. Reaching for it, Hopkins, and here's the flag. And Vontae Davis, if he's guilty of this, will be his 2nd on the day.
Vontae Davis has been in isolation with DeAndre Hopkins all day. And as you said, Greg, the 2nd pass interference call.
Pass interference defense, number 21. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
So this moves the Texans to the Indianapolis 34.
Now watch at the top of the route, the tug here on the shoulders. You see whether that's his hair or his shoulder pads or whatever it was, but his head whipped back. It was an obvious call for the officials to make.
1:24 on the clock. And Yates going to run this one. 25-20 and diving down at the 15-yard line. And staying down.
He got hit on the head as he was going to the ground.
He held off that slide for as long as he felt that he could.
Holding, offense, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat first down. And the injury inside of 2 minutes requires a timeout. That is Houston's final timeout.
So to pile on top of that, the play is going to come back due to the hold. And that is Brandon Weeden, who is the third-string quarterback in Houston.
When he goes to make the cut, it's not his head. I was wrong with that. Watch his right knee as he goes to make this cut. Or the left knee, I'm sorry, goes to make the cut and he immediately grabs the knee. So watch on the cut with that left leg right there.
And that's Darius Butler that went flying over the top of him and barely touched him.
Goes to make that cut with the left leg. You see that left leg just go dead. He just drags it to the ground. And
T.J. Yates telling us how he spent the first 6 or 7 weeks of this season sitting at home on the couch waiting for a phone call from a team.
Well, that's never a good feeling. I've been there, Greg, early in my career. As you're waiting and you're watching rosters around the league. He is up now and going off the field, as you can see him. But when you're trying to get connected with the team or get back on a team, you're just watching all the games on the weekends and trying to figure out if there's a place for you in the league. You'd see the frustration on his face.
Meanwhile, as he walks off the field, Brandon Weeden coming onto the field to take control of the offense. Be much travel, Brandon Weeden.
T.J. Yates just walking right to the locker room, going straight in, not even stopping on the bench. He waves off the golf cart. Have to remember Brian Hoyer is not even suited up today, still dealing with a concussion that he suffered.
So the next quarterback in line, I believe, would be the punter, Shane Lethal. Something Bill O'Brien just doesn't want to think about.
Yeah, we asked him that question last night, and that wasn't a scenario he was hoping to have to deal with.
Weeden completes his first pass. That's to Ryan Griffin. And the clock continues to move. 65 seconds to play. T.J. Yates off to the locker room.
Houston now out of timeouts.
Weeden on the run, got tripped up at about the 35, falling forward. Kendall Langford, who has played a heck of a game on defense for the Colts. It was Langford delivering the rev 'em up speech to the team prior to the start of the game.
Well, trying to get a hurry-up tempo here. The Texans have to get going here. It's third down, 30 seconds to go. You're getting close to field goal range.
Weeden throwing, sideline. The grab is made, and what are they going to call? Is that a catch? They're talking about it inside the 20-yard line. It is ruled incomplete. Jalen Strong, the rookie wide receiver.
2 feet down, ball secured. I'm sure this will be reviewed. It's in the final 2 minutes, so it's reviewed by the booth. The Texans are trying to take as much time as they can off the play clock.
And there is the whistle.
We will review the ruling on the field that the pass was incomplete.
Jalen Strong pretty certain that he got both feet down.
Both feet down, ball secure before the knees come down out of bounds.
Mike Carey back in New York. What'd you see, Mike?
Well, I saw what you did. So the key point here is, does the receiver have control far enough above the ground to demonstrate that he has control? He does in this case, lands on the ground. The ball does not move at all. 2 feet down. If I'm in the booth, this is reversed to a catch.
You know, that Mike Carey is really decisive when he hasn't had any sleep. You know that?
Very decisive, very decisive. But I agree with Mike. I think this is going to be a catch. I agree with all the points that he made. I think both feet were down. You see the ball secured in the right arm and tucked away. It doesn't move when he makes contact with the ground. It should be reversed.
And this is something the Houston Texans badly need with 23 seconds to play here in the first half.
You can see at real speed it's very tight to call. We have an advantage of slow motion.
Well, that's why you're right, Mike. That's why there was indecisive call there between the two officials. One thought maybe it was in, one thought no. That's why they had that discussion, and ultimately why it's being reviewed.
Yeah, and generally speaking, the person who has incomplete trumps complete.
Why is that?
Because in officiating, if you see that the ball is incomplete, it's definitive. If you aren't sure if it's complete, generally that you give them a catch. So someone who says they see incomplete always prevails.
Well, Ed Hockley hasn't made the announcement, but the other officials are moving it up the field yet. So I think it's pretty clear what this is going to be.
They have moved the ball to the 18. Here's Ed Hockley.
The receiver did catch the pass at the 18-yard line for a first down. He got possession of the ball and both feet down before he went out of bounds. First down.
Well done, Mike Carey. That call is overturned. 23 seconds on the clock.
Tell you what, Greg, that sleep-deprived Mike Carey is dialed in today. Now, it's important for the Texans, no timeouts, 23 seconds. If you do throw the ball in the field of play, everybody has to hustle up and get the ball spiked so that you have a chance at another snap.
First down at the 18. Whedon throwing left, complete, and making the catch is DeAndre Hopkins and out of bounds at the 11-yard line. Just a reminder, Verizon halftime report right around the corner with JB and the guys. All the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Nice grab by DeAndre Hopkins.
And even more importantly, getting out of bounds.
2nd and 3. Still have 18 seconds on the clock.
You got plenty of time to take a couple shots into the end zone.
Whedon throwing inside the 10 to the 5 is Nate Washington. Got to get up to the line in a hurry.
Now you got to get up and spike it, and then you're going to have to settle for the field goal because you threw it in the field of play.
Whedon with the snap and the spike and stopping the clock with 2 seconds to play, and that will bring the field goal unit on. Pretty good job by Brandon Whedon.
Nice job moving them down the field. I still think right before that snap, I said you got time to take 2 shots into the end zone. It was 2nd down, so you take a shot on second, shot on third because you're already in field goal range. You can understand it, but coming in on that situation, Whedon coming off the bench cold, being thrown into a 2-minute situation, handled it well.
Novak from 23 yards out, trying to get some points on the board here this afternoon for the Houston Texans. And he does. Time expires here in the first half. It's 10-3 Indianapolis, and we're back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 50.
Picked off by Melvin Bullitt, and the Colts are going to win the ball game.
Oh, we missed! The Colts have won!
Touchdown, Reggie! Reggie Wade! What a catch!
Vontae Davis has just sealed a division championship for the Indianapolis Colts.
Historically, it's been a disaster for the Houston Texans. 0 for 13 here in Indianapolis, just 4 for 27 all time against the Colts. As we start the third quarter, the Texans are down. It is 10-3 Indianapolis. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Hi, everyone. Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, and Jamie Erdahl down on the sidelines as we welcome you back as we approach the start of the second half in a game which has seen the Houston Texans in a big enough hole as it is, and they've lost their starting quarterback, T.J. Yates, for the rest of the day.
We take a look at the injury here right before the half. Yates is scrambling out of the pocket. He goes to make a cut with that left knee and goes down. Immediately went to the locker room, was able to walk off under his own power, but immediately was escorted to the locker room.
as we look ahead to the second half, what do you see, Trent?
Well, I think for Houston, it's Brandon Weeden. Now all of a sudden he's thrown in yet another quarterback, the fourth quarterback for the Houston Texans this year. Weeden came in and was able to put some points on the board for Houston going in at halftime. But then for Indianapolis, Frank Gore, they need to get the run game going. They talked about taking pressure off of Matt Hasselbeck. Need to get the run game going. Gore only 28 yards in the first half.
Let's go down to Jamie.
Well, Greg, unfortunately for the Texans, adding insult to injury, yes, TJ Yates is out, but also Cecil Short's out for the rest of the game with a groin injury. I was able to talk to Bill O'Brien. He told me immediately Yates was out. For the field position situation, he said it's frustrating because defensively he feels like they've been playing well. Now on the other side of the ball, Chuck Pagano feels like he wants to capitalize more when they do take advantage of that field position. Now he has guys on his staff that know Brandon Weeden well. They know he has a talented arm, but as far as it goes, it's still about the Colts defense.
All right, Jamie, thank you. And one thing's pretty evident after the first half. We talked about the embarrassment that this Colts defense felt over the last 2 games, where they've given up a ton of points and a ton of yardage. Today in the first half, they come up with a couple of turnovers.
They have. They've done a very good job. And, you know, the thing about this, though, it's a little concerning is because of the field position, because of the turnovers, and yet the Colts only possess a 7-point lead here. So there's got to be some concern if you're the Colts that you haven't been able to take full advantage of that.
We start with a touchback, and the Colts will take over, starting at their own 20-yard line as they get the ball first here in the second half. As you look at first half numbers, and Brandon Weeden, it's his team now. And it has been a revolving door for the Houston Texans. Well, you can't coach against injuries. That's a tough thing to do, to deal with.
Hey, 4 quarterbacks for anybody. It's hard to be that deep at that position.
Gore out to the 30. And looks like it'll be a first down.
But we just mentioned they need to get Gore going in the first half. 9 carries for 28 yards. Come out the first time he touches it, 10 yards right off right tackle. So they need to get some more of that as this second half moves forward.
Boy, we talked with the Colts. How about the leadership in the locker room that people like Andre Johnson and Frank Gore have brought to this Indianapolis team?
Easy, fire down, fire down. Track 99.
Red 80.
Track 99 to 90.
Ready, hey.
This side of the field, that is complete to Moncrief, who caught the touchdown pass earlier, out across the 35 to the 37-yard line.
Talked about the excellent field position that the Colts had in the first half. You see here, 3 punts, 2 scoring drives, taking advantage of those turnovers in that field position, but like to come away with some more points when you consider how many times they had the ball near midfield.
2nd and 2.
Move 5, double A.
Move 5, White 80.
Double A.
What the heck?
And they'll go after it with Gore, and Gore right at the 40-yard line. Let's see if they give him the spot. It's going to be just short of a first down. 3rd and inches as you look at the AFC South. Indianapolis and Houston fighting it out at the top. Jacksonville cannot afford a loss today, but they are down at home to Atlanta. 3rd and short. David Perry, a nose tackle, in on the near side of the screen, and that's him in motion. And Gore will follow him and will not reach the first down. In fact, he'll lose about a yard or 2.
When you see the excitement there on the Texans sidelines, that's the stop that they needed coming out here in the second half, trying to get the ball back, get some field position. See that defensive line just stand the offensive line up of the Colts. Wilfork jumping over the pile there to get involvement. Clowney coming in from the backside.
So McAfee to kick it away, and Keith Mumphrey is deep back at his own 10-yard line. McAfee goes down, penalty marker flies. Another marker flies on this side of the field as Mumphrey brings it back to the 35. And the tackle is made by, let's see, Whitney Merciless. Looks like the guy who was in on the punter. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, Merciless knocked pretty strong into McAfee.
Merciless saying he might have gotten a hand
He's
on
saying
the
he had a
kick.
piece of it, so if that's the case, then it wouldn't be a penalty.
And the conversation amongst the officials continues.
Trying to decide if that ball got, you could tell by the rotation or the spin of the ball if he got a finger on it.
There were 2 fouls by Indianapolis on the play, holding number 34 during the return. That's the Klein. It was also running into the kicker, number 89, 59. That penalty is enforced 5 yards, results in an automatic first down.
And Whitney Merciless insisting that he got a hand on the football.
Merciless coming in, and it's going to be, you see him extend, and he's saying that he got a finger on the ball. The only thing you can say is that if they do challenge this or review it, you could see that it appears like his glove goes backwards. You could see a little bit of the white of the glove as it. The other thing it'd have to be is to review. Let's see if you can see here. Watch the hand. See how that left hand as he extends it, you can see the glove. See how the flash of white there?
First and 10 at the 44-yard line.
That would be the only indicator as the challenge flag comes out by.
I got to tell you, Clark Kent, you have some superhuman eyesight.
I was sitting here looking over and over again. All of a sudden,
he's challenging the ruling on the field that the punt was not touched. If it was touched, there would be no foul for running into the kicker.
Wow, this is going to be a really, really closely scrutinized play.
I think you see his glove turning up.
This is Toyota.
Here's that
The field stands as called. First down. Houston is charged with their first timeout.
Mike Carey in New York. Did you see the finger flying in the air the way Trent Green saw it?
Yes, and here's why the ruling stands. You have to see clear, visible evidence that it was touched. We see a flicker of white happen as the ball goes by, and it's easy to assume that the ball did contact his fingers, but you can't see that happen. So can't jump to conclusions. That's why the ruling stands.
All right, Mike, thank you. The screen pass falls incomplete. Brian Cushing causing the mess up in the receiving end of it.
I know this is going to be hard to believe, Greg, but I'm going to disagree because I think when the ball goes by his hand and you see the hand turn and you see the white of the glove, I think that's enough. But I understand where Mike's coming from, but I thought that was enough to, unless Merciless has the ability to change his finger like that as he's diving, I thought it was enough. But anyway, the Colts have the ball.
This is Gore. And Gore across the 45 to the 46. I'm more inclined to go by the reaction of Merciless, who appeared to be really convinced that he touched the football.
Yeah, but you can't necessarily go off that because guys all the time, you know, we had that pass interference on Vontae Davis in the first quarter, and he was very, very adamant upon, hey, what are you talking about?
That's different. Guys, that's different. Guys never think they commit interference.
That's right. But, yeah, he was pretty adamant, and I thought there was enough. But obviously Ed Hockley and the crew in New York didn't think so, and it was confirmed and decided to.
I'd be a great official, wouldn't I? Well, he sounded like he got it. 3rd and 8.
What are you doing?
Hasselbeck going deep, except his receiver did not.
Well, and Hasselbeck took a huge hit on that play, getting hit by 2 defenders as he was throwing the ball. Couldn't wait for the cut to happen. Watch the pressure up the middle. Watt off the edge. He goes low. Clowney is high.
Offense, quarterback threw the ball. There was no receiver in the area.
So Moncrief turned inside. Hasselbeck threw outside.
The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. It's a loss of down. Brings up 4th down.
Hasselbeck talking to a couple of his receivers on the near sideline.
Greg, you have to be impressed by the way the Texans have come out defensively now, and been able to put some heat on Hasselbeck. Yes, that first run of the half was a 10-yard run by Gore, but since then the Colts haven't been able to do much offensively.
McAfee gets that one away. This is Mumphrey from the 21. And out of bounds as he crosses the 25-yard line. 11:32 to play. In the third, 10-3 Colts.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency. Low fares, nothing to hide. Auto Trader. Life happens one car search at a time. And by T-Mobile. Ditch your carrier and switch to the Un-carrier.
Oh, nice look at the canal walk here in Indianapolis. 11.5 to play here in the third quarter. 10-3 Colts. And Texans with their best starting position of the day at the Indianapolis 28-yard line. Whedon rolling, incomplete, pass intended for the tight end C.J. Fedorowicz. While we have a moment, NFL fans, order your holiday gifts from NFLshop.com today and get a free shipping offer at the official store of the NFL, NFLshop.com.
Eric Walden on the nice play on the last play on the bootleg, not being fooled by the play fake, getting up in Whedon's face, causing that high throw.
Whedon with Blue in the backfield. Blue gets the handoff right up the middle and bulls his way to the 40-yard line for a Houston first down. Well, the Colts have struggled mightily in the second half of their last two games. 12 possessions on offense with just 3 points. And on the other side, their defense and special teams have allowed 64 points on 11 possessions. Whedon, under pressure, got rid of it, incomplete. Looked up and there was Zach Kerr right in front of him. And everything that's happened in this game, Houston very much in it, just down 7.
Yeah, with all the things that have gone against them, whether it be penalties or turnovers or field position, they're still right in the mix. The defense is playing well on the short field, getting the ball back, and now it's on the responsibility and shoulders of their fourth-string quarterback, Brandon Whedon. Got to remember, though, he started the season over with the Dallas Cowboys, got some starts for them, but now he's at the controls of the Houston Texans.
On 2nd and 10, this is Blue, and Blue going to be wrestled down by Robert Mathis. Now, Brandon Whedon, the third-string quarterback, with Cecil Shorts out of the game with a groin injury. That means next in line at quarterback is the punter, Shane Leckler.
That's not something that Houston wants to see, and quite honestly, from where I sit, I don't want to see that either. Shane Leckler's had a great career as a punter. This is a key third down. You hear the Colts fans getting into it.
3rd and 10. Whedon lost the football. Covered by the Texans. Derek Newton recovered the football.
The pressure coming in. It's Mathis with the SWAT. We talked to him on Friday
about that very
thing. We said, and he talked about being a big fan of Derek Thomas and studying tape on him, and how Derek Thomas always used to attack the football, and he tries to do the same thing.
Quan Bray from his own 12-yard line. Penalty marker is down as Bray comes to the near side, and gets hit hard at the 25-yard line by John Simon. Bray, a speedster, was brought to an abrupt halt. Now let's check the flag, which was thrown on the other side of the field.
During the kick, holding by the receiving team, number 31. That's enforced from the end of the kick, where the kick was caught, half the distance to the goal. First down.
Penalty is on Jaleel Brown, and it'll back the Colts up. Robert Mathis doing what he does really, really well. As we bring you back to Indianapolis for a change, the Colts with the terrible field position getting started here from their own 6-yard line, and this is Gore to the right side. J.J. Watt with the tackle. More on J.J. Down to Jamie.
Oh, how timely, Greg. J.J. Watt telling us about that club hand he is playing with. Of course, the hand is broken. He has no fingers exposed with this. It takes about 20-25 minutes to get this club hand created for game day. Of course, he says it's challenging to sometimes if he has to rely just on that left arm to take a guy down. He needs both hands to do it. Matt Hasselbeck said one of his biggest skills is batting balls down, which J.J. Watt said he did twice this week in practice, so he is hoping that he can keep that skill up.
Thank you, Jamie. Quick pass, and that is complete just across the 10-yard line to Dante Monfrey. Yeah, what's challenging to some is unbearable to others.
Yeah, he said if he takes a direct hit on it, there's still pain there. The x-rays have shown that the bone is starting to heal, but it is still broke, so he has to, he mentioned that the cast that he normally wears has a hole in the top of it so they can place a bone stimulator twice a day, and he said that's not even a lot of fun doing the bone stimulator. And we said, well, what's the not fun about it? And he just said, well, it hurts. Every time they hook it up, it hurts. So I think he has a pretty high pain tolerance. So
here's a 3rd and 4 for Hasselbeck. Hasselbeck under pressure going down. Let's see, is he in the end zone? He will be marked down just outside the end zone at the half-yard line. Bernardrick McKinney.
Well, McKinney comes on a delayed blitz. Once he sees the blocking take place, he realizes that who he's in coverage for isn't going out on the route. He decides to come in late. Hasselbeck can't get around the edge, and lucky that doesn't end up in a safety.
Trent, I'm feeling a slight tremor in the force here. We're seeing a change of field position and maybe a change of momentum in this game here in the second half.
Definitely has, and it's been brought on by the Texans defense.
This is Mumphrey. Mumphrey with clocking. Ooh, and hit hard as he crossed the 35 to about the 32-yard line. Winston Guy, number 27, met him head on, but this is going to be great field position for Brandon Whedon and the Houston offense.
Well, and the reason Mumphrey didn't see him is because Guy had been knocked. He was the bullet on the outside. The two defenders or the two blockers had blocked him out of bounds. So Mumphrey didn't see him because he wasn't on the field. He came running off the field, so of course he's not going to have that in his vision. But great field position for the Texans here as they start off on the Colts 32.
You just passed right by that thing that I said about there's a tremor in the force, didn't you?
I'm going to have some patience before I go see that movie. I just know right now it's just going to be inundated with every time it's going to be completely crowded theater.
Wiggle about 8.
Right.
First down at the 32-yard line. We give it to Hunt. Hunt waiting for some blocking to develop. He'll only get a couple of yards on the play. And we go back to New York where James Brown and Tony Gonzalez are standing by, guys.
Greg, as you implied, we've all known Cam is special.
Yeah, he's getting it done right here. This is his 4th touchdown pass. That one goes to Corey Brown for 20 yards. Panthers defense getting it done too. Odell Beckham still without a catch.
Just didn't want Greg to think I was surprised thinking Cam was doing like right now. Back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, guys. Look at the NFC South, Carolina. Continuing their unbeaten ways. This is Alfred Blue. To about the 27-yard line. And that brings up a 3rd down and about 5.
Well, the Colts are trying to get some life into this crowd, get them going a little bit. Put some pressure on Brandon Whedon. TJ Yates is having a hard time getting enough reps, getting enough snaps. It's hard to believe Brandon Whedon had much work in this offense.
Grimes in the backfield on 3rd and 5. Whedon under pressure, shakes off one hit, gonna run for it. Out of bounds at about the 20-yard line, and that's enough for a Houston first down.
How Brandon Whedon was able to get by this.
Got hit in the helmet.
He got hit in the helmet. He had guys going front, behind, and I think he was just standing there waiting for the hit to happen. Then all of a sudden the smoke cleared, and he's like, wait a second, I can take off and run. He's as surprised as anyone.
First and 10. So here's Houston knocking on the door, looking for a game-tying score. Alfred Blue. And a late flag in the backfield. This is going to be, looks like a hold.
Holding, offense, number 87, 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's Fedorowicz, and that's going to be an expensive penalty.
Here's Fedorowicz. He's going to reach across with this right arm, and it's an obvious holding call, one that was easy to make. You see him with that right arm reach across, pull the jersey, twist the body. Once again right here, the inside rush, he reached across with that right arm. Easy call for the officials.
So now it's first and 20. Whedon, far side of the field. Incomplete, threw it behind DeAndre Hopkins, who had gone about 5 yards further downfield.
Second down. Well, and DeAndre Hopkins talked to us about how it was hard to get reps with Yates. So now, you know, how many reps or how many throws has he even taken from Whedon? And remember, Yates threw that interception earlier in the first quarter. It was the same play, similar down the left sideline, and DeAndre Hopkins went running and threw it behind. So Whedon, fortunate that one wasn't intercepted.
Hopkins just 4 catches for 41 yards today. Blue on second and 20. Shakes one tackler, can't shake the rest. Jonathan Newsom led the charge. It'll be third and very long.
With third and long here, you have to make sure you're not taking too many risks. You want to make sure you come away with some points. I know you'd like to get the first down, you'd like to get it down inside the 10-yard line, but with the amount of pressure the Colts have been able to put on Whedon, he's been lucky to escape a couple times.
How much of the playbook can Brandon Whedon have at his disposal?
You can't. Well, it's all there. It's just what he feels comfortable with and how far through the progression on each play can he work.
Third and 15. Quick pass, Hunt, 25, 20, still on his feet, has the first down. A penalty marker flies as he takes it inside the 10-yard line. Let's check the flag.
Ryan Griffin, the tight end, is very upset with himself, so
Holding, offense, number 84. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat third down.
Would have been a 20-yard pickup.
Griffin's coming in from the outside here, and you're going to see the run go here. DeQuell Jackson tries spinning out of it. So I think that's what Griffin was more upset that he thought the spin move is what made it look like a hold. He wasn't real happy with the call, and ultimately now the Texans push back even further.
Back in week 5, Houston had a season-high 13 penalties for a season-high 125 yards against Indy. 6 of them today. Hunt going nowhere. So the Colts benefit from the penalty. And onto the field comes the field goal unit.
Novak missed the kick from 57 earlier. He hasn't made a kick over 50 yards, but he's perfect on the season under 50 yards, so this is obviously in his range.
From 47 yards. And that's perfect. 2:42 to play in the third quarter. Another field goal on the board for the Houston Texans, and the Colts with a 10-6 lead in this critical matchup in the AFC South.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Garmin Fitness. Let's beat yesterday. And by Verizon. Better matters.
Second half has not been good to the Indianapolis Colts the last 3 games, including today. They've been outscored by their opponents 69-3 in the second half. Juan Brady. And we'll have a chance to run this one out from about 5 yards deep in the end zone. Hurdles one tackler and right up the middle and out to about the 25-yard line. And Matt Hasselbeck and the offense back on the field when we get back to Indianapolis in just a moment. Back in Indianapolis with 2:36 to play in the third quarter. And the Colts at their own 25-yard line. And they'll start it off with Gore, and Gore pushes his way for about 4 yards. And he'll set up a 2nd and 6. A reminder coming up next on this doubleheader Sunday. Steelers and their red-hot offense hosting the Broncos and the NFL's top-ranked defense. Some of you will see Cincinnati, San Francisco, or Miami at San Diego. It's all coming up next right here on CBS Sports. There's some numbers to throw around in that Denver-Pittsburgh matchup.
Well, and the Pittsburgh offense has been explosive here as of late. The amount of points they're putting up, and Roethlisberger throwing the ball all over the place.
On 2nd and 6, that pass is complete to Andre Johnson.
But back to that game real quick, he hasn't faced the Denver defense. They like to get after the quarterback a little bit and put some pressure on. So that would be a heck of a matchup, that passing attack of the Steelers against the pass defense of the Broncos.
Yeah, but you know, Ben has been playing the game like he's just like, who's going to stop him?
It's like 7-on-7
yeah.
He has been lately.
Look at the receivers he has. Martavis Bryant, Antonio Brown, Marcus Wheaton, Keith Miller. 3rd and 2. Hasselbeck pulls it down again, slingshots it to Philip Dorsett. And Dorsett is going to be about a yard short of the first down. So onto the field is the punter, Pat McAfee.
Hasselbeck decides to do a little drop down, a little sidearm here, flick between the linemen. But Houston now came into today as the #1 defense on 3rd down conversions, only allowing 30%. And so far, the Colts today are 3 of 11 after starting off hot. They haven't converted one.
Oh, McAfee booms this one. Keith Mumphrey. Back with his own 10. And the great special teams play made by Winston Guy. He's made more than one today.
Guy in the open field with the tackle. Last time on the punt coverage, they had him double teamed. That time isolated, he was able to get away and make the big open field tackle to conserve that field position.
So here's that old Houston bugaboo starting deep in their own territory, back at their own 10-yard line.
You see the way Guy's walking off the field. It looks like he cramped himself, or maybe his calf's cramping up or hamstring cramping up.
Brandon Weeden with 34 seconds on the clock to be played here in the 3rd. Weeden on the slant to DeAndre Hopkins. Weeden is playing because the starter today, T.J. Yates, suffered an injury to his left knee there as he planted and limped off the field. The carousel has included Brian Hoyer, who is out with a concussion, his 2nd in a month, and Ryan Mallett. Time runs down here in the 3rd. 10-6 Colts. Back to Indy after this message and a word from your local station. Welcome back to Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. We get set to start the 4th quarter. It is a 10-6 Indianapolis lead. And our Jason La Canfora tells us initial reports are that T.J. Yates has suffered a torn ACL. From the 18. Whedon got rid of it. In and out of the hands of Hopkins, broken up by Vontae Davis. What a battle they've had all day long.
They've been going at it all day. It's been some plays each way, and Vontae Davis getting his arm in that time to knock it out. Clean hit. Not a fun hit if you're the quarterback, but a clean hit by Eric Walden.
2nd and 10. Whedon lofting one for Hopkins, and he made the catch. Hopkins made the catch, and he's being marked down at about the 46-yard line. And a nice throw by Whedon.
Well, Hopkins is now this time matched up on Darius Butler. He's just on that inside slot, just runs an outside fade from that inside slot. Excellent throw by Whedon. Hopkins goes up and attacks the ball, brings it down as he's going to the ground. Butler reaches in with that right arm.
Oh, his hands came off as he was going to the ground. Good point now. Akeem Hunt to the 45. It looks like he may have lost a yard. Let's watch this as he spins to the ground.
So Hopkins has it as he's going to the ground. You see Butler goes in with that right arm, pulls it away as he's going to the ground. You see the ball come loose there. And then there's a tug of war for it.
It is, of course, too late to challenge anything now. 2nd and 11. Throwing to the near side. Fedora was the intended receiver. It'll be 3rd and 11.
Well, a little bit ago, I just talked about what the Texans have been able to do defensively against the Colts on 3rd down. The Colts, on their side of things, have only allowed 4 of 10 third down conversions. So keeping this 3rd and long, this has been the habit now for the Texans, is not having very many manageable 3rd down distances. All of them have been long, which fits right into the hands of the defense if you're coming off the edge.
Whedon over the middle, and that is complete to Hopkins right at the 1st down marker. Let's see where they're spotted.
Well, this is one of those, Greg. Even if it's short, they're going to go for it on 4th down. I would have to believe so.
Yeah, about a half yard shy of a 1st down.
Colts tried bringing some secondary pressure. It's just the safety came from too deep. Couldn't get there in time, so it allowed Whedon to stand in the pocket and wait for Hopkins to get out of that cut.
Here we go, 4th and short for Bill O'Brien, Brandon Whedon, and the Houston Texans.
Kendall Lamb, extra offensive linemen's in the game. That's who you'll see sent in motion.
Alfred Blue, the deep back. Blue gets the handoff, looking for running room. He's got the 1st down. And let's see, is that Hockey League? He is going to call for a measurement.
Dwight Lowery's on the edge. He's going to be the one coming off the edge. But watch Vontae Davis. He blitzes from the corner position. He's the one that's able to get initial contact, get around the legs of Blue. It's going to be a lot closer than initially it appeared.
Ooh. First down.
See, Lowery jumps to the outside, but it's Davis coming off the corner on that corner blitz. Yeah, there's not enough there. If you challenge it, it's very risky getting that overturned.
So Houston keeps the drive alive, now at the 44 of the Indianapolis Colts. Whedon, play fake, drifting, throwing, and that is incomplete. Penalty marker is thrown. Intended for Ryan Griffin, and Dwight Lowry made contact.
Well, and Lowry is early. He makes contact way before the ball gets there. The thing that's going to make him sick when he goes back and looks at this play is
pass interference defense, number 33. The ball was placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
Had he decided to take an angle and go for the football instead of the hit, he may have had an interception because he got there that early. Clearly the contact comes before the ball does.
So the interference call. From the 22 now. Blue. To about the 16. That's the third time today an Indianapolis pass interference call has given Houston a first down.
Well, and I think I think you have to understand, if you're Brandon Whedon, how well your defense is playing right now, and understand that you don't need to take undue risk. Yes, you'd like to get the first down. Yes, you'd like to get the touchdown, but you're already in field goal range. So you're in a position here to where you can get points and make this a one-point ball game.
2nd and 4. Coming this way is Akeem Hunt. Hunt inside the 15 to about the 13-yard line. We have been told from the sideline Winston Guy has suffered a hamstring injury. And the Houston Texans trying to win for the first time ever in Indianapolis. Houston, no touchdowns scored in their last 25 drives. 3rd and 1. And we get a whistle and a timeout. And too many players, perhaps?
$12 men in the field, defense, 5-yard penalty. Results in a first down.
So they don't have to worry about the 3rd and 1.
Oh, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep. Had 12 out there.
Get you a calculator for Christmas.
I know. How about that? They're all clumped together. A stack of numbers on top of everybody. Greg Minuski, defensive coordinator for the Colts.
And Houston takes a timeout. With 10:43 to play in the 4th quarter of a 4-point game. The 10th play of a drive that began back at their own 10-yard line for the Texans. 1st and goal. Whedon rolling, throwing, Dalen Strong diving for the end zone. And a touchdown.
When you go in motion like that, you're trying to find out if they're in man-to-man or zone, and what happens is they get Strong isolated against DeQuell Jackson. Anytime you have a guy with the speed of Strong going against the linebacker, you're going to take that battle every time. Whedon with the good play fake to his left, rolls out to the right. Easy pitch and catch, and you use the speed, get around the corners. You see Strong reach for the pylon.
Not since Buffalo 3 weeks ago has Houston been able to score a touchdown. The extra point is good. And with 10:36 to play in the 4th, it's the Texans on top by 3.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Amazon Fire TV. Change the way you TV. Clean, crisp Coors Light. And by Dodge.
That's that Santa dude with the gingham shirt at the Festival of Trees at the Indiana Historical Society. Houston Texans have scored 13 straight points and have taken a 3-point lead with allowed 10.5 to play. Quan Bray going to run it out from about 6 or 7 yards deep. 15, 20, and hit hard at the 20-yard line, falls forward to about the 21. Pretty good drive, Trent.
Brandon Whedon accurate up the field. DeAndre Hopkins was in the slot that time, matched up on Butler. Then the big pass interference call, giving them the first down, and then Strong with the touchdown. Whedon with a tryout for the hurdle team, jumping over. A little excited, that's good.
We had a penalty marker on the return.
No reason to not be excited, Greg, when you told us several times Houston's 0-13 in this building. So,
personal foul, blindside block by the receiving team, number 35. That's enforced half the distance to the goal from the end of the run. First down.
That penalty is called on Akeem Davis.
Shouldn't say 0-13 in this building, 0-13 in this town.
In this town. Still kind of gets the point across. You ever have a stretch like that where you just went someplace and couldn't win?
We had a bad stretch there against Denver for a while that we couldn't get it done.
But you mentioned earlier, and Houston's had some really good teams.
Yes,
over that
stretch. They really have. You think about Matt Schaub and Andre Johnson and
Arian Foster.
Yeah, they have some good teams.
That quick pass to Dwayne Allen is out to about the 16-yard line.
Well, now this is going to be important for the Indianapolis Colts to get some things going. They need to try and get momentum back in their favor. Obviously, they're trailing, so they've got to get 3 points to at least get this thing tied. But with 10 minutes to go in the game, they need to get something moving. That third quarter wasn't very productive for them.
And what the Houston Texans have done is they've taken the crowd out of this for the moment, too. As you look at the standings in the AFC South. Pass to the far side, Moncrief. And his forward progress will be marked at the 21 or 22-yard line. That'll be enough for a first down.
And that's another Indianapolis Colts.
Indianapolis wins today. That means that with one win in its final 2 games, they'll claim the AFC South. And they travel to Miami next week and then host Tennessee on the final week of the regular season. It's a little more difficult for the Houston Texans, but certainly not out of the question, especially if they win today.
Wolf right. Ready?
Hasselbeck, with time, pulls it down and just throws it away. Here's the way the battle for the AFC South shapes up. Indy traveling to Miami, home to Tennessee. Houston going to Tennessee next week and then hosting Jacksonville, while Jacksonville is on the road at New Orleans and Houston. And again today, they're home to Atlanta, and they are tied at 17 with plenty of time remaining in the fourth quarter. Jacksonville not out of this thing at all.
Yeah, this entire division's crazy, and you said you didn't want to explain what's it going to take for Houston to clinch the playoffs. It's even more complicated for Jacksonville.
That pass to the outside is incomplete. Andre Johnson turning inside. The pass was outside.
Well, Romeo Crennel's doing a nice job for the Texans, mixing things up from a pressure standpoint and from a coverage standpoint. On first down, the Colts tried going to max protection, but then the Texans countered that with a cover 2, so only 2 receivers going out in the route, yet both receivers were double teamed, so there was nowhere for Hasselbeck to go. That time, just the timing route, they weren't on the same page with Andre Johnson.
Here's Hasselbeck on 3rd and 10. And throwing it, and it's complete to Dante Moncrief across the 40-yard line. And Hasselbeck on his back at the 10.
Heck of a throw. Takes a lot of courage, knowing the ribs are the way they are, that to stand in there with the pressure coming at you to put that ball in the second window up the field for Moncrief. Texans bring pressure right up the middle. Merciless with the hit.
Just what they didn't want to happen to Hasselbeck today. Charlie Whitehurst starts to loosen up on the near sideline.
Not only the ribs, but the back of his head hitting the turf. That's another concern as well.
And Hasselbeck still on the turf back at the 10-yard line.
He talked to us on Friday about his ribs expanding when he takes the hit. It's on that upper left side. So when he goes to the ground and the weight lands on top of him, and then in addition to that, the back of the helmet hitting the ground.
Very tough at Hasselbeck. Just walked off the field, looked at on the sideline. Meanwhile, Charlie Whitehurst in at quarterback, going to throw right off the bat. This side of the field, and that is complete to T.Y. Hilton. And that's a first down into Houston territory. And here's Charlie Whitehurst.
Charlie Whitehurst has a strong arm. He can come out and fire it. Hitting the comeback on the far sideline to T.Y. Hilton. Can't say how many reps he's had with the guys, but he was able to get some practice in this week because Hasselbeck wasn't able to practice fully this week.
This is Gore. And Gore bouncing off, trying to bounce it to the outside. But Andre Howell making the stop there. Loss of 3 makes it 2nd and 13. Here's the hit on Matt Hasselbeck.
Here's Merciless right in the middle. Little spin move to get through.
And I think you're right, Trent. It looked like that helmet right underneath his chin. Whitney Merciless applauding Hasselbeck walking off the field.
Well, that was the thing that you see him right there. Matt still flexing his jaw. So
Whitehurst under pressure, going down at the 47-48 line, and there is Merciless. I think it's safe to say Merciless doesn't care who's at quarterback.
Well, so much attention being placed on Clowney and Watt. He gets isolated one-on-one, so he's been able to take advantage of, especially here late.
Illegal hands to the face offense, number 76. The penalty is declined. Brings up 3rd down.
That penalty on Joe Wrights is turned down for illegal use of hands.
There's Wrights playing right tackle. Gets his hand up in the face of J.J. Watt.
So now the Colts, who started this game 3 out of 4, converting 3rd downs, they're 0 for their last 8. Whitehurst, this side of the field, incomplete. Intended for Moncrief, covered well by A.J. Boye.
A.J. Boye making a late break on it, actually going for the interception, but able to knock it loose, get it away from Moncrief.
So here's McAfee. And you've got to think, first intent is to turn the field around and back the Texans up.
Well, you want to try pinning them down there and count on your defense to get you back some good field position.
Mumphrey at his own 5 makes the fair catch. And that is where Houston will begin this next offensive series as they continue to check on Matt Hasselbeck.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Jared the Galleria of Jewelry, the gift she'll treasure forever. And by Subway. Make your Sub Deluxe with 50% more meat.
Well, the Colts faithful now getting into it as they start a defensive stand. at the 5-yard line. Well, that last scoring drive for Houston, I believe, started at their own 10.
They were able to take advantage of some isolated one-on-ones with Hopkins, getting the big pass interference call. Stopped the play to announce the Kendall Lamb was eligible, extra offensive lineman in.
6:46 to play. This is Alfred Blue, and Blue for a couple out to about the 9. Those of you just joining us here in Indianapolis in a game both these teams need badly. Touchdown pass to Dante Moncrief early on, 11 yards, but then TJ Yates hurt his knee. Gone for the game. Brandon Whedon came in through the touchdown pass, and then we saw Matt Hasselbeck knocked out on that hit from Whitney Merciless. So the quarterbacks now, Brandon Whedon for Houston, Charlie Whitehurst for Indianapolis. 2nd and 6. Blue squeezes his way through and out to about the 13. And it looks like it'll be 3rd and 3. Look at the numbers on the day. Houston with 290 total yards, 2 turnovers, which cost them badly in the first half.
Yeah, Indianapolis was able to convert one of those turnovers, get it into a touchdown, so that's how they have 7 of their 10 points.
3rd and 3. In a big defensive moment for the Colts. Whedon throwing. Oh, what a diving catch is made by Hopkins. There is a penalty marker down.
I think they're going to get offensive pass interference on this one. DeAndre Hopkins at the top of his route.
He and Vontae Davis have done battle.
There was no foul on the play. The pass was complete for a first down.
So they pick up the flag, much to Vontae Davis's dismay.
I want you to watch the left arm at the top of this route. There is going to be contact. Watch the left arm extend and push Vontae Davis away before he dives and makes that catch. You can understand the reaction of the crowd after seeing that replay on the big board.
Did you like that?
I thought it was offensive pass interference. I thought initially from when it happened.
Matt Hasselbeck back on his feet and throwing. This is the catch.
Point of the ball does hit the ground, but you have to remember the Bert Emanuel rule that if you have control of the ball and it hits ground.
And Chuck Pagano threw the flag, threw the challenge flag before the snap.
Well, you're just gambling on that one because the rule is that even if the ball touches the ground, if you have control of it, the key will be if the ball moves at all when it hits the ground.
Indianapolis is challenging the ruling on the field. The pass was complete.
Well, and both these coaches likely to pull out all the stops down the stretch here with 4:48 to play.
Well, at this point in time of the game, it's worth that risk. Now watch the ball when it comes down. Does it move at all? Doesn't appear to move at all.
I didn't see any movement. There's the tussle before the catch. There's the heck of a catch by DeAndre Hopkins.
Let's see if we can see from this angle if it moves at all. It doesn't appear to move at all. So he has control of that ball. It doesn't move.
Ball touched the ground. The receiver had control of the ball the entire time. Indianapolis is charged with a timeout.
So the challenge doesn't work. The Colts lose a timeout, and that is a good catch by Hopkins.
And I'm okay with that challenge. I think it's worth it this time of the game. Under 5 minutes to go, and you're trailing. Take advantage of the field position. If that's overturned, you're going to get the ball near or around midfield. That's worth the timeout.
So now the Colts down to 2 timeouts. Bill O'Brien says wind the clock. First down. This is Blue, and Blue wrapped up. Zach Kerr, the first man to hit it. Let's go down to Jamie.
Well, Greg, I've been watching Matt Hasselbeck on the sideline here. The team is listing him as a back injury. Return is questionable, but he's tried his helmet on a couple times. I'll tell you, the jaw right now for him seems to be bothering him a lot. He wanted to get that helmet back on to see if it really bothered him too much, but he's been moving open his mouth. I think it comes from hitting his head on the field, but really he's focused on that jaw, but the team is listing it as a back injury.
All right, Jamie, thank you. Whitehurst throwing on the sideline. Hasselbeck wearing the cap. Blue. And again, that Colt defensive front standing tall. DeQuell Jackson, Jarrell Freeman. And it'll be third and about 10.
Well, Greg, Alfred Blue being very cautious with the football, being very secure with the football. Remember, in the first half, he had the fumble where he thought he had the ball secured, but Mike Adams was able to come in and rip it away and get the ball for the Colts at midfield. So you can see the Colts digging after the football, trying to get it knocked loose from Alfred Blue once again.
The Colts have told us that wide receiver Philip Dorsett suffering an ankle injury. His return to action is questionable this afternoon. 3rd and 10. Whedon. Outside and all in and out of the hands of Nate Washington.
Whedon under pressure. Minuski decides to bring pressure.
Dropped passes have been an issue for this Houston team.
Washington's going to just swing out wide and try and get that quick throw. He's able to bring that catch in. It's a one-on-one in the open field.
Quan Bray, 45. Midfield. .42-yard return. A 42-yard kick, excuse me. And Matt Hasselbeck coming back onto the field. Hey, Christmas Eve only on NFL Network. The Chargers square off with the Raiders, and then a special Saturday edition of Thursday Night Football as Washington takes on the Philadelphia Eagles with the NFC East still up for grabs. 2 division showdowns this week only on NFL Network. That is Charles James that they are looking at and helping off the field, a reserve cornerback. And walking gingerly at that.
Well, it's important to note the field position here that the Colts have, and trailing by 3, they just need to get in position to attempt a field goal.
So here's Matt Hasselbeck back into the lineup. 3:07 on the clock. Andrew Luck anxious to return to the fray. Not going to happen for another few weeks.
Yeah, they talked about him this week getting back in practice, but when I talked to more people around the Colts, they said he went back and did some individual work. He has yet to do any 7-on-7 or teamwork. He's just starting to get back into it. I have a hard time believing he'll be back by next week.
Hasselbeck had it batted down at the line of scrimmage. What's happening in the AFC? Big win for the New York Jets last night. Kansas City winning big at Baltimore as we speak. And Indianapolis and Houston in a dogfight atop the AFC South. 2nd and 10. Hasselbeck throwing, coming across. That's complete. Incomplete. Ball fell loose. Picked up. Picked up by the Texans. Kareem Jackson.
Calling that a catch with a fumble is the ruling on the field.
So Ed Hockley and his crew are ruling it down at the 21-yard line. Here's the play.
Brings it in, tucks it away, 4 or 5 steps before it comes out. Pleasant with the hit, knocking it loose.
And Kareem Jackson with the return.
For 63 reports eligible, 63 is eligible.
What a huge turnaround. Indianapolis with the 28th turnover of this season That is the most in the National Football League.
Well, now with the 2-minute warning approaching, you have 2 timeouts left. Obviously, you want to try and get the ball back, but if you can hold them to a field goal, then you're still leaving it a one-possession game.
Blue. Quick move up the middle inside the 20 to about the 17.5-yard line, and a timeout is called by Chuck Pagano. Houston Texans looking for their first ever win in Indianapolis. And the timeout is called by Pagano. Tonight, would you like to know what Apple is working on next? Rare and wide-ranging interviews with CEO Tim Cook and his team only on 60 Minutes tonight. So now, Indianapolis down to 1 timeout and 2:42 to play. So they can stop the clock once, and they get the stop the clock at the 2-minute warning.
Well, I think if you're the Texans, you run the ball both times, or if anything, you try and run a quick throw or a quick screen to the outside. But you have to use up this time, force them to use that extra timeout and get it down to the 2-minute warning.
Alfred Blue, 18 carries for 104 yards. Trying to add more to that. He's ahead to about the 16-yard line, and there is that 3rd and final timeout being used by Indianapolis. So it'll be a 3rd and 5. Remind you to stay tuned for the NFL Today update. Time permitting, join JB and company for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. There are a ton of them around the league today.
Greg, in this situation, just like I said before the last snap, you have to run the ball to get it down to the 2-minute warning. You've already made Indianapolis use up both their timeouts. It's leave yourself in field goal position, force Indianapolis to have to get a touchdown, which they haven't done all day. The only touchdown they were able to get was after the turnover near midfield, where they had the short field to work with. So run the ball, use the clock, get it down to the 2-minute warning, secure the field goal, and then force the hand of the Colts.
And you can probably bet this will be the last play Houston runs before the 2-minute warning. Blue. And Blue still being run diagonally before the whistle blows. And his forward progress is going to be marked right around the 15-yard line. So it'll be 4th and 3, and they will let this clock wind down to the 2-minute warning. Both these coaches determined that their team was going to come out strong today. Still in the balance, 3-point Houston lead, 2 minutes to play. The New York Jets won last night. The Kansas City Chiefs have won this afternoon. Pittsburgh still to play Denver later today, just a bit here on CBS. Here, Nick Novak lining up a 32-yard field goal attempt. He's been good from 22 and 46. He missed from 57. This for a 6-point Houston lead. And it is perfect. 16-10 Houston, and those of you just joining us here in Indianapolis, Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Jamie Erdahl, it has been a battle from the start. Touchdown pass to Dante Moncrief. The Houston Texans lost T.J. Yates with a knee injury there in the first half. On came Brandon Whedon, touchdown pass. Matt Hasselbeck knocked out of the game temporarily and came back, and Rick Whaler with the fumble. And on that play, injured his ribs. He's gone to the locker room for x-rays. It has been a tough game. 309 total yards, and Houston looking to overcome the 2 turnovers.
Well, those 2 turnovers were early in the game, the first 2 possessions of the game, and since then you can see the defense of the Texans holding the Colts to only 190 yards of offense. So the Colts here have their hands full. No timeouts. They have to get a touchdown. You got a banged up Matt Hasselbeck. Griff Whalen's now out. He went to the locker room to get his ribs x-rayed. Moncrief has had a good game, trying to get T.Y. Hilton involved even more. With this much time, you still be able to utilize the whole field. It's just going to have to be in a more of an up-tempo, get the ball snapped and try and stretch the field.
16-10, Houston. Juan Bray is deep and gets a running start on this one. Hit at the 15 and forward to the 17-yard line. Curtis Drummond with the special teams play. The Colts, if they could win today, would win the AFC South by winning one of their last 2 games, either at Miami next week or hosting Tennessee the week after. But in order to do that, they're going to have to come up with 7 points here in the next minute 52. The Houston Texans have beaten the Colts just 4 times in 27 meetings and have never beaten them here in Indianapolis. Hasselbeck going to go deep. And that is caught by the Texans, intercepted by A.J. Boyd. Hard to figure out what the plan was there, Trent.
Well, I'm not sure what the concept was here. They had the inside slot receiver running a corner route. So the inside guy is running an out where he's just going to run a flag route. And here Moncrief is running a post, but Hasselbeck throws it as a go route. He throws it up the numbers. See, Moncrief just takes that foot in the ground and goes over the top. So based on where Hasselbeck threw the ball, they clearly weren't on the same page. As you see the sideline, the defense has to be excited. Holding the Colts to 190 yards, coming up with the big key turnovers in the second half.
And the celebration begins on the Houston sideline. A win here gives Houston a 7-7 record and the lead in the AFC South. Jacksonville trailing by 3 at home to Atlanta in the last 2 minutes of the game. And in a game that leading up to this, guys on both sides of the ledger said it felt like a playoff game. Unless something very unusual happens, this one's going to go to the Houston Texans.
Well, the Texans now next week have to travel to Tennessee, take on another division opponent before finishing things off with Jacksonville at home. So much more in control of their own destiny. We mentioned what the Colts needed to clinch a playoff spot. Texans a little bit more complicated just because of some of the tiebreakers that are involved. Greg.
Well, a win here is a step in the right direction for these Houston Texans, who lost Brian Hoyer. Now we have to wait and find out when he might be able to return from his concussion. Meanwhile, the final snap, J.J. Watt and the Houston Texans will make it a happy flight home to Houston. Brian Hoyer hoping to clear the concussion protocol. He'll be examined again tomorrow. Good luck. And Bill O'Brien.
Thank you, 12th man.
Coming off the field.
Safely.
And a pretty gritty performance from the Houston Texans.
Well, impressive performance, especially by the defense, what they were able to do with the turnovers that the offense had early in the game, only holding the Colts to 7 points in those first 2 turnovers. So keeping the game close, only giving up 1 field goal after that, and basically shutting down the Colts in the second half.
Huge win for the Houston Texans on the road, and especially in a city where they had never been successful. Once again, our final score, 16-10. Houston coming up, game 2 of our doubleheader. Denver at Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, San Fran, Miami, San Diego. For Trent and Jamie, Greg Gumbel, so long from Indianapolis, and Merry Christmas. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 50.